Morning, everyone. How we doing today? Friday, July 24th. Got a lot of stuff going on. So if you don't know, we shoot for 140 thumbs up for these daily financial videos. And when you do that, we go ahead and spend an hour together on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific. So in order to spend that hour with you, I do need some questions. So we are starting to get some questions rolling in. So if you do have some that you would like me to answer, I will sit down at, let's call it 6 o'clock this evening, and go through the comments and see, see what kind of questions, so we can talk Saturday. So I look forward to seeing you there. The other thing you can look forward to today is I've been invited to speak at a real estate club. Traditionally, they would do this in person. Given the whole health crisis, it's going to be virtual, but I will be doing a dry run in probably about an hour or so, that I will publish at 1 o'clock Pacific. I want to make sure I present to that team at noon, kind of so they can see it, and then I will share the dry run with all of you right around 1, maybe 1:30, just to make sure I am complete. But you will go ahead and get to see that as well, as I always do. I like to practice, and if I'm going to practice, I might as well share it. So that's what we do. So as for the news of the day, lots going on. Friday, July 24th, couple of things that we expected. Didn't take long. We shut down the consulate in Houston. China retaliates and shuts down the consulate in, I'm going to call it Chengdu. I'm sure I mispronounced that. But, kind of the tit for tat thing we talked about yesterday. I'm shocked it's not multiple consulates. But, the China and U.S. relationship is not getting any better. See the fiery speech from our Secretary of State, Mike Pampano? Whatever. Man, he seemed angry. He was not hiding his passion. He probably should have practiced that speech. He let his emotions get ahead of him. And I don't know what else to say other than we are starting a Cold War. Again, I'm not calling for, military assets being deployed, but much like the Russia and U.S. Cold War that I grew up in, it's pam pow. Oh, thank you. We are starting that, in kids in grade school today will be, watching it unfold for the next decade or so. I get asked about silver and gold a lot. I do watch them, more out of just habit. But silver is at a 7-year high, 30% rally. I do follow the gold-silver ratio, which has been stretched. Basically, how much silver can 1 ounce of gold buy? And that is stretched, I want to say, to record levels, at least in the last week or so. I had saw that. It may have adjusted recently. But I have a paperweight on my desk that's a kilo of silver, but it doesn't produce cash flow. Storing any of this in mass, it's tough, right? Silver is relatively cheap, so I have a paperweight. That's what it is for me. It's a paperweight. But lots of people follow it. The dollar and inflation and all of that. I get it. I did buy a lot of it when I was much younger, but I don't have much now. Goldman Sachs finally putting a dark piece of history behind them. I don't know if you followed it. It's the 1MDB scandal with Malaysia. They just signed a $3.9 billion settlement. Of course, admitting no guilt. They never do. But they're sending $2 billion in cash. Or no, $2.5 billion in cash. So they want to put this behind them as fast as they can. American Express was an earnings announcement that I talked about last Saturday as one that we were going to watch, because American Express is a piece of plastic that a lot of the quote unquote rich use. So I was trying to figure out what was going on there. They missed on the top line, but they beat on the bottom line. Really, for me, it was kind of a miss. They did say the spending low, or the trough, was April. So really not new information. That's probably when we all should have expected it. But they did increase credit reserves for bad debt by about 600 million. I think it was 586 if I remember correctly. But again, uh, banks, credit card companies, all adding to reserves, which is net net not a good thing. A couple of things that yesterday's job reports, the unemployment number, right? Surprise uptick, right? The trend is now broken. Looks like 50% of Americans who were originally thinking their jobs would come back. Now, again, according to this report, 50% of Americans fear that their jobs may be lost forever. It wasn't a very well cited article, but it does talk to a trend that I think is starting to form, and it's not good. We have these reclosures. We have restaurants shutting down and not opening back up. It is going to be a very messy second half, and there are bright spots, and we'll talk about one of them at the end. Home construction is going to be a bright spot, I believe. But yeah, it's I think the second half is going to be worse than the first half, and a lot of it's going to be based on the stimulus that the government is discussing, and right now it seems to be too small and misfocused, in my opinion. But they still have time to work it out, so we shall see. Intel, man, Intel. This is why you got to sometimes really dig into earnings announcements. Intel beat on the top and bottom line for the quarter, but if you check out their stock, you would have thought they missed, right? Last time I looked, they were down 15% today, 1.5. They basically are falling behind the technology curve. They also lost Apple, I think, about 90 days ago. Apple's going to make their own chips. There's an analyst that has listened to 45 Intel quarters. That's 11 years. His quote was, "Worst quarter I've ever heard. No viable roadmap to be competitive." That's not good. That's not good. No viable roadmap to be competitive? Oh my God. Somebody's getting fired. That's not good. That's painful. Looks like Tesla's given some back. A lot of the tech companies are giving some back as we head into the week. Thursday, yesterday was a down day. Today appears to be a down day. I did find a major bear. I didn't write down his name, though. I should have. Darn it, I didn't write down his name. But basically, he has a $300 price target on Tesla. Even with an 8% down day today, I think Tesla is still like 1,400. So there's an analyst out there that's saying, nope, it's worth 300. I'm guessing that guy's short and he's getting crushed. That's a hell of a bear right there. That's 1,000 points under where it is today. Basically, he's saying there's flaws in the growth story, and he expects them to miss their yearly target of 500,000 vehicles. Dude, I think you're on the wrong side of history. I think you're on the wrong side of history. You might want to adjust that $300 price target. You look like an idiot at this point. But who knows? That's the fun of this. Disney's delaying more theatrical releases. There's the movie. I mean, live sports. Live sports is finally coming back. Major League Baseball opening night yesterday. More games today. The NBA's in a week. But yeah, movie theaters. Ooh, AMC, man. Ooh, it's tough. Disney's delaying Star Wars, Avatar, and Mulan. Star Wars and Avatar at least a year, right? I believe Mulan's in the can, so they're just moving that down the pipeline. But wow. Verizon beat top and bottom line. You would expect that. Communications, stay-at-home stock. They do have 1.5 million customers on the Stay Connected plan. Basically, they're not paying their full bill. That did surprise me. 1.5 million of Verizon subscribers are not paying their full bill. That was more than I expected. Boston Beer. I'm not a beer drinker, but man, if you like beer, Boston Beer, Sam Adams, crushed it. $4.88 earnings, and their expectation was $2.43. Talk about a stay-at-home stock and a surge stock. Man, Boston Beer, Sam Adams, just killing it. That surprises me a little bit because I would have thought they would have had more downside from restaurants, but maybe, again, I'm not a beer drinker, so I have no idea, but man, Boston Beer, Sam Adams, that's a quarter to stand up and applaud for. Congratulations. And then, of course, the thing that I was looking forward to talking about the most is new home sales. New home sales was an absolute blockbuster. They were expecting 700,000 sales in June, which would have been up 5%. They got 776,000, so they beat by over 10%. That is a record not seen since 2007. New home sales are flying off the shelf. Lots of little data here I wrote down. First and foremost, the median price is $329. Last June it was $311. So what is that? Let's call that a 20K. So about 8%, 7.5%, 8%. Year on year. The Northeast up 89%. Kind of makes sense. Northeast was kind of shut down there month on month. What else? The biggest range was 200 to 300. That was the biggest range. But again, and then supply is down. Last month's supply was 5.3 months, now 4.7. That's quite a move. But yeah, new home sales. This is, in my opinion, this is people are leaving the cities. Vertical cities are out and will be out for years. This is also Class A apartment owners or tenants going, I've had enough being a tenant. The upside of being a tenant is out and I want to own. 200 to 300,000 is the range for first-time buyers. All they need is about $8,000. If they have $8,000, maybe $9,000, including closing costs, they can get a brand new home. Lots of tenants in Class A apartments around the country can save $9,000. This is a move that has legs. This is going to be, right now, one of the bright spots in the second half is we add more and more construction workers, in my opinion. A lot of these new home sales are because existing home sales have no inventory. So they're like, hey, let's go buy a new one. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I blame this one on the Fed. I think what's happening is a consumer behavior change, the thing that I've been looking for. What is happening to the consumer? Certainly the Fed has brought rates down and all of that for sure. But I believe we are having a consumer shift. I believe there was a whole collection of folks that decided to live in a Class A apartment on purpose because it was right for them, that are now saying, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. I want my own backyard. I want to be able to have my own pets. I want to have my own stuff. I think that is what we're having. I think we're seeing a fundamental consumer shift. And again, let's realize what we're talking about. We're talking about 776,000 units, homes. What is there? 320 million people or population in the U.S., right? So it's not a big percentage. It's not like suddenly money is raining down from somewhere. You have to assume that 0.3% of the population could save, right? That's what we're talking about. So yeah, I think we're going to see 330 million. Sorry, I was off by 10 million. But yeah, I put it out there. I think home construction is going to be a winner. I think suburbs are a winner. Big cities are losers. High tax states are losers. I happen to live in one of them. Yeah, we're always looking for a crisis to change behavior. And in my 50 years on the planet, this is the first crisis I think is going to change behavior. The oil shock in the 70s, too young to really remember it much, but my parents tell me about it. What happened? Maybe we made smaller cars, right? Toyota took off back then, right? More fuel efficient. The dot-com craziness, maybe we had better financials. The Great Recession, that was a financial gimmick. Nobody really changed. But I think what we're seeing here is we're seeing a reverse of the Great Depression. The Great Depression was people moving to the big cities from the suburbs. I think what we're seeing now is people are going, forget the city. It's overpriced. It's dirty. All the amenities are gone. Why live here? I want a backyard. And I think that's an investable trend. I really do. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. So in the end, that's what I got for you today. Remember, I will be doing a dry run, but it'll post this afternoon. We do need some thumbs up. We got 40 people watching. Hi, everybody. And 14 thumbs up, so help a brother out. And of course, leave questions. I will do my best to answer them tomorrow at what is it, 8 a.m. Pacific. Take care, everyone.